you have to think of. And after thinking of different approaches, you have to think about which will be the optimized approach in terms of time and space complexity. In computer science world, guys, time is very important and space is very important. What do you mean by time? So let's assume many of them, like in newspaper, you might have seen, right? Many of them talking about Bangalore traffic. Why? It is a very biggest point that is in the discussion of the headline. Why it is there? Because if you just jump into a Bangalore traffic, you might ride for a distance of 1 kilometer. It might take 1 hour even. Okay. So people really worried about time because people don't have much time. That's the reason people want a shortcut, different directions. So in similar way in computer science as well, if you want to execute a particular program, you cannot wait for one day for this particular program to run. You have to execute it in 10 seconds or 15 seconds or 1 hour in that time. So for that reason, time is a very important constraint. What do you mean by space? Space is something, let's assume I'll give you a 1000 square foot area and I'll tell you that, okay, I want to, 100 people wants to stay in that 1000 square foot area. It is not really feasible solution, right? We cannot, like 1000 people, 100 people cannot stay in a 1000 square foot area. It is very difficult, right? Similarly, in terms of space complexity in computer science, so let's assume, if I'll give an example, right? I'll give you a 2 GB RAM and I want to execute a very big program, okay, which takes more than 2 GB, which takes 4 GB. It is not feasible for you to run that 2 GB, run that program that takes 4 GB RAM and you have to run it in a 2 GB RAM. It is not feasible solutions, right? So that's the reason in computer science, time and space is something that you will listen multiple times. Wherever you go, you should always think about these two things, time and space. Time and space. I'll give you a very easy example where both of this thing comes closer and comes together as well. Okay, little bit later. But is it something that makes sense, everyone? It's not, you guys are not feeling boring, right? By the way.
Guys, write in the chat box what do you feel. It's
Yeah,
very
yeah,
interesting
absolutely.
to me.
Yes, sure. So if the number of people joining or leaving the session, if that decreases, then you guys are feeling boring. It means. Yeah, interesting. Great. Nice. Okay, so the first important thing is build a sharp mind which can think of multiple approaches. The second thing is that problem solving, you have to think in a mindset, right? So you have to practice, you have to consistent, you have to revise. Okay, what do you mean by practice, consistent, and revise? So try to make something, like, let's assume you are thinking about your placement. Okay, you are thinking about your placement. And let's assume today is 23rd of June or July, right? 23rd of June. What is that? Hey, 1 of July. Okay. This is 1 July. I completely forgot the date. 1 July. Let's assume your placement is on 1 October. It starts at 1 October. I'm just guessing the number. Okay. So from 1 July to 1 October, right? You have to do something in between that time. So how will you construct your whole time? So what you can do is every day, guys, every day, try to read a concept and practice 2 problems daily. Okay. Try to read some concept. Let's assume you take RA as an example and try to read about RA and do 2 problems of RA. Next day, again, some concept about array or some theoretical things about array, maybe 2 pointer one day, sliding window one more day, or something, right? That comes to pattern problems one more day that you can take, and next day practice for 2 days. 2 problems. In that way, be consistent. It's not like today you have solved 2 problems, tomorrow you have solved 2 problems, next day you are not solving, next day you are not solving, next day you are not solving, next day you are solving 6 problems. It is not like that case, guys. It is very bad. In that way, you are losing that interest. Okay. Maybe on this day, you don't even solve a single problem. Or whatever the problem you have solved, it might not sit in your brain properly. That could also happen. So be consistent. Whatever the work you have, whatever the secondary pressure that you are getting, should not be very much worried about that. But you try to be consistent. And the next important thing is revise. So for now, you have to revise on a weekly basis. You have to revise on a weekly basis. So whenever you are preparing something, try to make a proper note. I'll show you how I have been making notes. Okay, I'll show you how I've been making notes. So let's talk about the approach. Okay, let's talk about introduction to problem solving. Okay, so I have taken this class in somewhere. Okay, so we'll discuss about these things. Okay. Then we are discussing about counting factors. We have discussed the problem, we have discussed the solutions, we have discussed the optimized approach, then we have discussed the code related to it. Okay, then the next problem, then again it's solutions and it's code related to same. So whenever you are practicing the problem, and if you're keeping this note handy with you, at the time of revision, it will make you help. I mean, it will actually help you in long run. Okay. So in next 7 days, you can do a revision. In next 15 days, you can do one more time revision. In 30 days, we can do a revision. Next 45 days, next 60. Like that, you do proper revision with these notes. So in that way, you will feel like nothing is missed. Okay. At the time of interview, you don't need to actually hurry. Like, okay, I have missed this, I have done that, this, whatever it is. You should not worried about it. Okay. At the time of interview, you'll just open this note and go for it. Just try to see how exactly it looks like. That's it. Very simple. Isn't it? So I have maintained notes for everything, guys. If you see, I have maintained notes for each and every topic. This is a tree problem that I have been solving. Okay. I've been maintaining those notes. So whenever I'll come to the session, I'll just have a look into that and I can exactly able to take the session without seeing any note. That is very much important. You have to revise in a consistent basis. Okay. Then the next thing that we are discussing about is, while you're writing a code, you have to think how that code will behave when you scale. What is the meaning of scale? The meaning of scale is, right now you are making a project just by thinking that, okay, let's assume you are building a web application, web chat applications, where two people can communicate with each other, like a simple Telegram application. Just one-to-one communications. It's not group-wise communication, just one-to-one communications. So you want to implement that project in your college. How many audience would be there in that college? Can you guys tell me? What would be the audience? The number of audiences will be like 100, max to max 100 people will be using your software, right? Whatever the chat application that you have been building. But when that is gets scaled off, let's assume you are making an application, something like Telegram, then might be 10 million or 20 million or 10 billion people are using Telegram at the same point of time. So you have to think, if you're writing a single piece of code, how it will behave when you have 100 user, how it will behave when you have 10 to the power 9 user. That is something you have to think. That is very, very important. So you have to think basically in terms of time, in terms of space complexity. You have to think in both ways, in terms of time, in terms of space. If you are thinking in terms of both, then only you will be able to write an efficient code. So always try to write an efficient code at scale. And a very much important thing, something called syntactical issue. So whenever you are writing a program, it's not like printf you have written and you missed the quotation or you missed the bracket. or you have written a if else condition, you have missed the curly bracket. That is something it should be very much avoidable while writing the code. Okay, because in Google interview they will not give you any compiler or any IntelliJ idea, okay, or any Visual Studio Code or any. They will actually give you something like a text pad where you have to write down your code. So while writing down the code, it will not check whatever the syntactical issue that you have in your code. Okay, it will not throw any compile time exception. So you have to think about it, you have to resolve it by your brain. Compiler or any external power will not be there that will gonna help you. Okay, so that is something you have to keep in mind. In order to improve that syntactical issue, what you should do is similar to Google interview process. Whenever you are writing a program, try to write it in a text pad. Don't use any IDE. For beginner, I'll completely say don't use any IDE. Any integrated development environment, don't use. Don't use IntelliJ, don't use Eclipse, don't use whatever it is, a Visual Studio Code or for C, Turbo C compiler. Don't use anything now. What you do is try to write it down in a simple text pad or a notepad and copy that code and paste it in a compiler and execute it. In that way, your learning experience will improve. Okay, you can avoid the syntactical issue in the long run. That is something you all have to do. Okay, guys, give me a minute. I don't have charge in my laptop. I'll just log in. Just give me a minute. Yeah. So you guys need a break or is it okay?
Guys, tell what you want in the comment section. But I don't think we need any break right now because
Yeah.
it's gonna
Okay.
be.
So let's discuss about a very good problem. Okay, Western DDLJ. How many of you have watched DDLJ? Spandan, Dibbensu. Okay. So what are the two characters in DDLJ, guys? How many of you remembered that? Don't search in internet.
Guys, don't shy away. We all know who they are.
Yeah, it's
Please,
okay. What's bad in that? I
please
think
stand.
in college life, many of you have already created that, no? DDLJ. Yeah. What are the two characters, guys, in DDLJ? Nobody is telling anything. Arey, what happened? It's not like college faculty, man. What
Yeah,
happened?
yeah. Devrat is writing. Shruti is also writing. Raj and
Oh, Raz and Simran,
Raj
right.
and Simran.
Hmm. Great, great, great. You have all remembered that characters. So let's talk about that problem right now. So let's assume we have two characters. One is Raj, another one is Simran. Okay, and they are doing something like booking a Uber ride. Uber, Ola, Rapido. What do you want? Uber. Uber is cool and good. Amresh Puri. Ah, nice. Okay. So basically, Raj is writing a code and Simran is also writing something. Okay. Raj is writing a program and Simran is also writing a program. Okay. So who do you think is a very, what can say, uh, very talented, Raj or Simran? Which one you want to take? Talented person. Anything as per your wish, I can take. Raj or Simran? Raj, huh? Nice, nice. Okay. Okay, let's see who is more talented. Okay, Raj or Simran. So basically, Raj has written a program and Simran has also written a program. So whatever the program that Raj has written, it takes almost 1000 operation. This is just an assumption, guys. I'm just making. Okay, to show you something very important at the end. Okay, So let's assume the number of operations that the program that Ras has written, it took is 1000 operation. But Simran is a little talented. Let's make girls first. Okay. So Simran just took 10 operation to book a Uber ride. Whatever the program Simran has written, let's assume this is P2, this is P1. So program P1 takes 1000 operation, whereas program P2 takes 10 operation to book a cab, to book a Uber cab. Okay. So one more assumption that I'm making myself. One is the daily active user. So obviously it is Uber, it is a scalable product. The daily active user per second is 1 million. What is 1 million, guys? 10 to the power 3, 10 to the power 4, 10 to the power 5, 10 to the power 6. What is 1 million? Let's see. Om Prakash is not good in mathematics, it seems. Pratyu is also following Om Prakash. Is it 10 to the power 6, Om Prakash? I don't agree. What is the case, guys? Is it 10 to the power 6, 1 million?
I think 7.
Nice. Abhip size 10 to the power 7. Okay.
It's 10 to the power 6, right? Not 10 to the power 7.
Yes, it is 10 to the power 6. Om Prakash, you are absolutely correct. Great. Don't get confused, guys. Just making fun out of it. Don't take it seriously. Huh? Cool. So 1 million is nothing but 10 to the power 6, right? So this is okay. This is nothing but 10 to the power 6 operations per second. This is also similar because it will be not change, right? So for Simran program, daily active user will not go up. For Raj, it will not go down. It will be always same for Raj and Simran. Okay, daily active user will be always same. Then can you guys try to calculate the total number of operations per second? How exactly you will calculate? Let's see how many of you are good in mathematics at least. Because all I've done, I mean, at least in your engineering phase, no, you might be good in mathematics, right? How do you calculate number of operation per second? So 10 to the power 6 user per second and number of operation is 10 to 1000. So total number of operation per second will be the multiplication of this two figure, right? Yes? Yes or no? Yes? Yes. So it is nothing but 10 to the power 6 multiplied with 10 to the power 3. This is nothing but 10 to the power 6 multiplied with 10. Yes? This will come around 10 to the power 7. This will come around 10 to the power 9. So this is the number of operations that has been performing per second. So the Raj code took 10 to the power 9 operation per second for total active users. Simran code took 10 to the power 7 operation per second for total active users. Now I will make one more assumption. So you know machine, right? Machine is nothing but a single laptop or a single server, you can say. Okay. So a single machine can serve 10 to the power 4 operation per second for both of the case, for Raj and for Simran as well. So now tell me how many number of machines that we require? How many number of machines? So we have to perform 10 to the power 9 operation per second, and a single machine can perform 10 to the power 4 operation per second. So how many machines we can get? 2. So 5 apple cost 30 rupees. 1 apple cost how much? Tell me. Is it very difficult problem, man? 5 apple
Right in the
cost
chat
3.
box.
1 apple cost how much?
So 6.
6 rupees. Similarly, total number of operation is 10 to the power 9. A single machine can serve 10 to the power 4 operation. Then how many machine we require? 10 to the power 9 divided by 10 to the power 4, isn't it? Getting confused, guys? This will be 10 to the power 7 divided by 10 to the power 4, which will come around 10 to the power 3, which will come around 10 to the power 5. So now one more assumption that I have made over here. A single machine costs 1 lakh. This is also 1 lakh. A single machine cost is only 1 lakh. So now what will be the total cost? This is something I won't do. Seriously, guys. This is something you have to do. We have 10 to the power 5 machines and one machine cost 1 lakh. We have 10 to the power 3 machine, one machine cost 1 lakh. Then what will be the total cost? Tell me. Total cost will be 10 to the power 5 lakh. This will be 10 to the power 3 lakh. Now who is saving the cost? Raj or Simran? Who will get the promotion?
Simran.
Who will get the prize? Simran will get the prize. Nice. Great. So you guys are able to figure out what is something that comes to your mind, guys. The first important thing that we have solved is, see, the difference here is the number of operation per second. The number of operations to book a Uber cab. So if the number of operation is getting increased, then ultimately the cost also making this application, the cost for making this application is also getting increased. That is ultimately coming from the pocket of the board of directors, right? Right? That is ultimately coming from the cost of the company, right? So no company wants to make a product which is very costly for them. They always want to make the product which is costly for, less costly for other as well as for them as well, right? So no company in this world wants to spend more amount of money on infrastructure. So if we are building a product which costs 10 to the power 5 lakh, if you are building a product which will do the same job but 10 to the power 3 lakh, obviously everyone will take this person. Nobody will accept this, Raj. Correct? So that's the reason why I'm trying to focus here over here is that is the advantage of time and space, guys. So when you are building a product, you have to make sure you are building it in such a way that it is less costlier for industry, less costlier for use as well. Okay, in terms of time and space. That is the whole gist of the whole book a Uber ride. Okay, how is the problem, guys? Able to solve the mathematics? Lot of mathematics. Boring, huh? Simran is not a gold digger. Acha. Anyway. Great. Engineering economics is never boring. Nice. So this is all cost optimizations will be done when you come into industry. Okay. Trust me, guys, we have been doing these things a lot. Okay. How we can reduce a single operation. If we can reduce a single operation from 1000 to 999 also, we'll try to do it. Because it will save the cost at least in a single million to company. Correct? So always we should think about a little optimization we can bring. That may lead to a big saving for a company. A little optimization in the code will be a good savior for the company in terms of money. So always prefer less time and less space complexity. Okay. With that respect, let's discuss something very interesting. Okay, which will basically not under your syllabus, like which will be not very much required for you guys, but absolutely if I'm here, I just want to discuss about it. Okay, so one thing is like One thing that we have already discussed is something called problem solving in data structure algorithm, which is very much important, guys. And it actually, the weightage of that problem solving in data structure algorithm for pre-placement is 95%. 95%. I'm repeating this term. So I'll tell you last thing over here about it. Basically, if you see my whole career, okay, my 10th was from a normal government school, and again my 12th is also a normal government college, like Basic Science OUAT. You might heard about it, and my BTech is also like in CET. So all my career throughout this, I have been passing through in ODI medium, right? So I was very bad in English. Even now also, I do agree about it. That is not a very good deal. I mean, good thing to not. What I would say is, right. So you should never ever think more about communications. You should never ever be worried about your public speaking skill. If you know the skill, if you know how to, deliver that skill properly, then don't even think about communication problem. Okay. Always try to be speak up, always try to be loud, and try to raise your voice. That is something you can absolutely do. I can remember something now that has happened to me in my first year, right? You might heard, right? There is something on English. What is that session? I hardly forget. There is two lab in English. I think one is communication lab. Is that something that I'm correct?
Yes, sir.
Communication lab or something, right? Yeah. So they are actually like 20 or 30 of my friends were sitting on the bench. I mean, on that communication lab in CET. I don't know whether that place got changed or not. That is kind of an auditorium place, okay, for us. And ma'am was sitting in front of us, and we all have to, I mean, each have to go up front and, speak up for a particular topic. I don't really remember what is the topic. It was maybe best on Modi or something. Uh, so it was like speak up for next 5 minutes. And trust me, guys, I got very embarrassed at that point because I was not able to even speak in a correct grammar, not even in a single line in a correct way. And ma'am actually got me when she scolded me, and a lot of things happened. My friends used to taunt me out. Okay, what you have done? We are not good in English and blah 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 things. But things really matter over here. Now, where I am now and where they are right now, I don't want to compare them with me now, my friends or anyone, but the stage is completely different. The stage that I have been following and what they have been following is completely different. So, guys, trust me. Don't even like if you are coming from a ODI medium background, or if you don't communicate in English properly, don't even feel embarrassed about it. Okay, it's happened for few days. It's happened, but slowly, if you keep on progressing in life, it is very easy for you to, if you have a good skill and if you have a good mindset to learn new things, you'll be in a very good stage for sure. Okay, so that is very much important. You should keep in your mind. And yeah, so we'll discuss about it, which is not that important for you, but little hint about it. So we're discussing about something called system design. So guys, system design comes with two important things. One is called low level design, another one is called high level design. Okay, so under low level design, what is something that come? Okay, so basically right now you are sitting for college placements, right? In college placement, many of the interviewer might not ask you about low level design, but if you just have 1 year experience, or if you just have like 0.5 years of experience, like 6 months of experience, when you want to switch, okay, at that point of time, many of the interviewer used to ask you question on low level design. So how many of you heard about solid principle? SOLID, solid principle. Nice. At least you guys are heard about it. Very nice. In my whole engineering, I never heard about it. Great. So solid principle, and there exist few other principle, dry, case. Okay, these are all different principles that do exist in computer science, and many people used to ask question on this kind of principle as well. Okay, so what is the real need of low level design is, whenever you are writing a project, let's assume, I'll give an example, guys, a very easy example. Let's assume you're writing a page, okay, p.java file. One Java file you are writing, let's assume, okay. So you are at 2023, you are writing. So in software industry, things got changed in a very faster pace, right? You are working in Goldman Sachs right now. Maybe after 2 years, you might be worked in some different company, XYZ company. So the person who has written this p.java file might not stay in the same company for long run, right? So some new developer will come and try to see the code that person p.java, that the person whoever written that p.java file. So after reading this file p.java, he has to do some modification on that file. If he can't even understand by reading the file, then what he will find, what he will do in a normal term, what he will do? He will be blank, right? He can't do any change. It is very difficult for him to understand the Java file, right? So the reason why I am focusing on this writing the code in a proper structure is whenever you are writing something in that Java file, make sure you are writing in a very correct way such that if you want to do a little modification, any business modification on it, it should not break the whole software. The whole software should not fail. Okay. So you have to make sure you are understanding the code base properly, and code should not break by any modification or any change that has been done by you. So you have to write a very clean, understandable, testable, debuggable, extendable code. What is the meaning of extendable? The meaning of extendable is, so let's assume right now, WhatsApp has integrated personal chat, one-to-one chat. Maybe later they have integrated group chat. Later they have integrated one more extended chat, business chat. So that could happen, right? So your code should be extendable. The meaning was that whenever you are doing a change in the code, it should not actually a lot of change. It should be very minimal change you have to do such that your code can be extendable. The reason debuggable is very easy. Any new developer that come and see your code, they can easily able to see what is something that is happening. They can easily able to debug, right? Yeah. Testable is something, right? Whenever you are testing the code, that exact code base, it should work properly, and understandable and clean is a very normal English term. So it is you guys are very familiar with it. And the fourth important point is database schema design. So what is database? Is a data storage, right? Where the data is exactly getting stored. So you have to design a proper schema for that particular database. Similarly, in interview, guys, many of you might get question on SQL queries. So what I would recommend is, in internet, you might get source, okay, where you will get list of SQL queries and different set of questions. How to find maximum, second maximum or second highest score in that particular table, average for that particular table, okay, for a particular student, what is the average? So this kind of question you have to practice. Don't worry, I'll have this thing in my plate, okay. I'll share you a document where you can look into those steps. You can practice this SQL queries, okay, and database schema design as well. And concurrency and multi-threading is not that important for you guys. Just leave it for now, okay. It is not important. So the next important thing is high level design, which comes with, right, building a whole system, how your system will behave when you scale it further. When you scale it further, how your system will behave. For that reason, I have an example for all of you. Let's see that example. Very easy example, guys. Let's see. It will just take 5 minutes of your time. Okay. Let's see. So tell me, guys, you are building a chat application and it's a college project. How many number of user you are expecting? At least how many number of user you are expecting? You are building a college project, most likely you will expect 100. For now, let's try to make a very small application, 100, okay. 100, max to max 100. So when you're building Telegram, maybe the number of users is 10 to the power 9. It is not 100. So let's assume the number of messages per day per each user is 10. Okay, in Telegram as well as in a college project. So how number of messages? So each user sent 10 messages. Okay. So can you guys tell me what will be the total messages that sent per day for college project? What will be the scenario? It will be 100 into 10. It will be 10 to the power 9 into 10. Correct? Yes. So one more assumption. Each message size is 1 KB. Let's assume this is one more assumption, guys. Just an assumption I'm making. Okay. It could vary. Okay. This is also another assumption that I'm making. It could vary. So now can you tell me what is the total storage we need per day in that respect? What will be the total storage? Total storage will be 1000 into 1 KB. That is nothing but 10 to the power 3 KB. Here it is 10 to the power 10 KB. Kilobyte. Yes, 10 to the power 10 kilobyte. This is 10 to the power 3 kilobyte. Correct? Yes. So for total storage, what will be the total storage for 10 years? Can you guys try to calculate? For 10 years. So a year composed of 365 days. So it will be nothing but 10 into 365 into 10 to the power 3 KB. It will be 10 to the power 10, 10 into 65 into 10 to the power 10 KB. So what will be the figure here? Whatever you're seeing here. This figure is nothing but, if you calculate in a normal way, this figure will come around 7.2 petabyte. 7.2 PB. Can you think about it, guys? 7.2 petabyte. It's a very big storage amount that we require. So whenever you are designing a database where you want to store these messages, if you don't this session before developing this application, then think about it. We use a database named A, but after some time we came to understand that our database cannot store this much storage. Or if you're storing this much storage, if you're storing this much message, then our database takes a lot of time. There is a lot of latency issue that is happening in our database. Then we cannot really replace the database at that point of time. So while building the application itself, we have to think about it. Correct? What is the proper database that I should use? So that is nothing but high level design. So we'll design the system in a architectural view. How exactly it will look like, and what are the components we have been using, and what is the structure of these components. Whether you will use Oracle SQL or whether you will use Postgres SQL or different type of database that is available, right? MongoDB. You might have heard about these databases, right? So we should always think about it before developing that application. This will nothing but high level design. I've just given an example about database perspective, but it varies in terms of server, varies in terms of load balancer, varies in terms of cache, varies in terms of different components that request to build a software application. Does it make sense, guys? Everyone? Great. With that, we discussed a lot of things about data structure algorithm and system design. In addition with that, we need to also study or discuss about something very important called computer science fundamentals. So since I have been preparing for GATE, I was good in that subject, like computer science fundamental. But trust me, you can actually look into 3 important pillars of computer science fundamental. One is database management system, DBMS, operating system, and computer networking. But you should not be reading these big books, okay? Operating system, this big book, or database management big book or computer networking big book. Because if you are reading this big book, then you will know, I mean, you cannot even solve a single problem in DSA. It will be a very time consuming process by reading this book. So what I have for you is that, so I have already prepared some materials of all those three aspects of computer science fundamentals that you guys can take it forward and you can practice those questions and practice those concepts. So it will help you in interview perspective. Okay. So in database management system, we need to study about SQL. We need to study about normalization, and we need to study about ACID principle, atomicity, consistency, isolation, durability. And in operating system, we have to study about CPU scheduling and cache. And in computer networking, OSI layer, okay, and TCP/IP and UDP, different way of network protocol communications. That is something we have to study. Okay. So this is the third thing. The first thing is DSA with problem solving. The second thing is your system design, which in terms of low level and high level. The third thing is computer science fundamental. The fourth thing is project development, which comes at the fourth. Why I have made it in the fourth is, it is not that important, guys. Trust me, it is not that important. Many of you might have asked me questions, sir, I haven't done any project, I will not get placed. Trust me, guys, I haven't done a single project in my whole engineering experience. Nothing to show in project. Okay. So in our fourth year, like when you have to present in a seminar, what we have done is we have borrowed a software, but actually you should not do that. Okay. For us, it is our case, we have done that, but we have borrowed that project and just present that to the audience. So, but you should not usually do it. I mean, you should focus also in project development if you are in first or second year or third year. Okay. So in case of project, basically we have two different varieties here. One is something called full stack developer. Another is something called data engineering. Okay. So data engineering is something which is work on big data, which is like we have a lot of data, like data lake. We can say data lake. Okay. On that data, we will run some analytics by the use of MapReduce, Spark, Hadoop, HDFS. This cluster will run on top of it. That is something data engineering is about. Most likely, only in fintech, right? Only in financial domain, only in investment banking and HFT companies, high financial trade companies like Tower Research Capital, Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs is coming under investment banking. JP Morgan Chase. So these are all big investment banking companies where this data engineering holds a lot of responsibilities because they have a lot of data and they used to see the trading related stuff. Okay. In addition with that, HFT as well, high financial trading. I mean, high frequency financial trading. Okay. So on those actually Tower Research Capital, those are the companies where data engineering really works and really they are interested to know like what are the data engineers available in the market and they want to recruit that. But if you come to companies like completely tech companies like PayPal, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, whatever the big companies that you are saying, most likely they hire full stack developer. So while it comes to full stack developer, it is basically into two parts. One is front end, another one is back end. So front end, guys, I'll tell you, if you are learning front end, try to first learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript. These three are the fundamentals of front end development. Don't directly jump into React or Angular or Vue.js or Express.js or blah, blah, blah. It is not really required for you. Learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript. JavaScript is the heart of front end development. So you should always focus on JavaScript more. Okay. In terms of backend development, the server development, where you will have to throw your APIs such that your front end will consume that. Because of time, we cannot really describe much about how front end, back end, server exactly looks like here. But yes, for backend development like Spring, which is in terms of Java framework, Django, which is in terms of Python, Node.js, Golang, C#. These are all backend framework that comes with different flavor. Okay. So if you ask me, right, what are the tech stacks that I have been working and have worked already? So I have full and fledged experience and front end development, JavaScript, Angular, and React. I have in the backend development, I have full fledged experience on Spring, Django, in Python and Node.js. And in data engineering, currently I have started learning since I joined Goldman Sachs last month. I started learning about Hadoop, MapReduce, Spark, HDFS cluster because that is the tech stack there they have to work. So in my whole experience, I have already gained this much project experience. So you should not be worried about that. I don't know that because wherever you go, you might get to work on those subjects. And it is cafe interrelated thing. Okay. So front end, back end, data engineering, all are interrelated. So if you know programming and problem solving well, you can sit anywhere. That is not a very difficult job, difficult task as well. Okay. So with that respect, we have already covered about the what does it take to get into the product-based companies. Then the last thing, why do you need to do all this? Why software? I've been speaking about software since last 1.5 hour, right? 1.25, 1 hour 25 minutes. Yeah. Why do you need this, guys? Why software? This time I need your response, at least. Or else this session will be very boring. Is it boring, guys?
No,
Yes?
sir.
No, sir, not at all. Not at all.
Kindly spam the chat box, please. Write
Yeah, yeah.
creative answers.
Yeah, the next one I think AMA, right? Oh, pre-placement preparation tip is there. That will take 5 minutes. Then ask me anything. Yes, go ahead. Why do you need all this, guys? Why software? Is it? It's most relevant field. Many of you are from instrumentation background. Still, you are okay to work in software. Is it? Electrical background, mechanical background. Okay. So in that respect, I'm not blaming any other field guys or any mechanical engineer are great in that term. Civil engineers are great in that term. Electrical engineers, instrumentation engineer are great as well. Even textile engineers and biotech engineers are all great. Okay, in that respect. But since I am from software, I always like, okay, my field is great. That is always the things that you have to be in your brain. Okay. So the reason why a software is very much important is if you go back in 2000, right? Many of the job that you have been seeing, right? Let's talk about. I want to go from this to this place. From here, I have to go to this main road. From there, I have to look for a taxi. Then I have to board and go to some place. Again, from that place, I have to go somewhere, like by walk. But by now, by the use of Rapido, Ola, Uber, all those technological things, it is very easy for you to navigate. And you see the product like Map, okay, Google Map or Apple Map, whatever the map that you are seeing, how like cozy and how comfortable product that is, man. Like, see, it will give you the shortest distance within a very easier way, correct? So, like, what I am trying to convey over here is, so whatever the product that you are seeing over here, right, whatever the recently I have read an article about Facebook. So they're actually trying to I think detect cancer or something just by a simple scan, or just by simple I think eye reading or something. They will do something. Okay, I didn't read the article full extent, but that is something they want to develop. See, guys, so this is what software is, right? So, and one more thing, right? If you see product like Tesla, product like Facebook AI and different product, right? There you will see automated car, automated braking system, like all those automobile vehicles that you are seeing is full play software. If you buy a Kia, any car in Kia Motors, so that fully software based application is installed on that Kia product. So that is the beauty of software, and that's the reason why we need to read about it. I mean, so it is a very new thing, and many of you might have thinking about this noisy or buzzy words, right? ChatGPT is there. So what will happen to my career? Will I stay in this industry for long run or not? Will my tech skill being utilized in a correct way or not? Because ChatGPT, by the help of ChatGPT, many important or easier thing can be done. But guys, ChatGPT won't really eradicate the number of software engineers that is working in the market. It is there to help us, but it is not there to completely eradicate the software engineers. So see, I'll give you an example. So let's think about the time when we don't have any IDE, any IntelliJ, any Eclipse, any Turbo C compiler, anything was not there. Think about that time. So what people used to do at that time? They used to write it in a text pad, and they used to write some scale script to run or execute that proper program that they have written. Correct? But when ID come into picture, the thing that is removed out is just writing the scale script and executing that program. But anyway, we are writing the same program in the IDE itself, right? So writing the same program, the number of software engineers is there to write the program is not reduced. But yes, it is reduced in just 0.001%, like number of person that is actually triggering that shell script, that just get reduced. So if you are a skillful engineer, you can sustain in this industry for long run, for absolutely. Okay, so you should never ever worried about recession. You should never ever worried about layoff or anything. I did switch in this layoff time. You can see, I was working in PayPal is a very decent salary and a very different atmosphere, because there I used to work for just 2 hours daily. I did a switch and I take a risk in the layoff time itself. People used to ask me, why did you do a switch? And many people have been asking me that, okay, you get laid off. That's the reason why you you joined Goldman. But it's not the reason, guys. I didn't get laid off from anyone, because no company wants to laying off employees like me, for sure. So don't worry about this layoff. Don't panic about this. What will be my career for long run, whatever it is. So what is the most important that you should follow is practice, revise, consistent. If you keep doing the things regular basis, you will be in a very great phase in your life, for sure. And last tips, guys. I'll just take your 5 minutes of time. Then we will go for a AMA. So pre-placement preparation tips. So basically, one important thing that I used to do, right, during my, so when I was working in ADP, I was in a very low pace level, and to excel my career, so what I used to follow is that I used to practice company specific interview question. So I cracked Amazon, I cracked Microsoft, and even I cracked DSO as well, and few more good top product-based organizations as well. But I completely take good decision on my perspective where I have to join. But yes, whenever you're preparing for a particular company, so practice company specific interview asked questions. Where do you get it? You'll get it absolutely in lead code. Okay, in Gigs for Kids. You can search that company name with a tag SDE, software development engineer, or a software development engineering intern, and just tag what is the company name. Okay, and at the last just write lead code, or at the last just write Gigs for Kids. You will find few searching tabs in the Google Chrome or Google, and there you can go and see all those practice questions, and you can practice those questions. Okay, and I'll just share an experience. So one of my friend in 2018, right, who cracked Amazon as an intern. So what he has done is there are 30 questions he has prepared, and out of that 30 questions, 4 got in the exam itself, and he got selected in an intensive. So he just read that intensive experience in the Gigs for Gigs. That's it. And he got selected. He was not good in coding. He was not good in anything, but still he just read that 30 question sets, and he was able to solve that, and they got selected. So it could happen with you as well. But yeah, anyway, so that is something that you can take it out and go through blogs on previous interview experience. That is very important, that you should study a lot. Like you can just watch the interview experience from different people in the lead code, in the gigs for gigs as well, or hacker earth or hacker rank, and that is important. And know your resume well. So basically whenever you are writing a resume, don't write a resume like 2 page or 3 page resume, just a single page resume with a very compressive template, and review with a senior. Basically I would recommend like a good senior who has a good experience in a top product based companies. They will actually try to help you where what is the mistake that you have been doing in your resume, so that your resume will get shortlisted in the in the company. That is very important, because many people used to you know used to apply for the companies, but the resume itself is not getting shortlisted. So prepare your resume in a very good way. That is very important. And yes, itself a solid introduction is very much important, with which covered all basic things of yours, your study, your educational qualifications, your whatever the things you are proud of, all those things. Don't hesitate to tell your weakness, tell your strong points at the time of interview, and don't say very lazy weaknesses. Okay, that doesn't make sense. And absolutely you need to stay calm and relaxed and be like you can actually be in a t-shirt. That is absolutely fine, until unless you are not appearing for TCS or Infosys interview, because in my life I have never ever appeared for that. Okay, so I don't know how their interview process is, but yes, you can stay with a t-shirt. That is absolutely fine, but stay calm and relaxed and stay eye connected. That is very important. And yes, always be in an open face. Smiling face is very important, guys. Okay, wherever you go, have a smiling face. That is very much important. And with that respect, the last thing, I'm actually starting up a boot camp for you guys. Like if you're interested to join, it's kind of a 3 or 4 months of boot camp where you'll be studying about, where you'll be learning about data structure and algorithm in depth from scratch to advanced level, all different topics, guys. And with a very interesting thing. Okay, you just attend the demo class for first 2 or 3 days. You will feel how it is exactly. For a couple of days you can all attend, and if you wish, you can bring your friends as well into the demo class. It will be in a Zoom meeting for sure. We'll be conducting it. And yes, so we'll be learning about programming basics. Might be we will try to put a language like Java or Python as a base, and we'll study about data structure algorithm and also computer science fundamentals, which is very much necessary for our interview perspective. Yes, if you are all good enough to join, you can absolutely ping me or call me. I have contacts over here. You all can actually join this group and we can work together. That is not compulsory, guys. It's kind of something that you excited to do, you want to meet, and you want to get. That's it. Yeah. Now it's time to ask me anything. If you can ask something, that will be great. No question is bad.
How
Yes.
can we get in touch with you? Can you send the links in the chat box, please?
Yeah. You will be getting this PDF. I think someone from our team. I think, is he there? Karthik, are you there? Buddy,
Okay,
you
so
left.
yeah. So he will give us.
Yeah, I think Karthik will actually. Is there any? This PDF you guys can take it. Okay. If you
Okay, sir.
want, you can connect me on LinkedIn or Instagram, wherever you want. Let me copy and share it in the chat, guys, so that you all can stay connected over here. Okay. And yes, you can all ask me questions, guys. Now it's time for all of you to ask me questions. No questions.
Guys, please
I will
use the
write.
chat box for questions.
Sorry.
No, sir,
Yeah,
sorry. I was
we
talking
have
to the
got
others.
one. We have got one question from Om Prakash Sahu.
Yeah. What is that question? Go ahead, please.
Yeah, he is saying that, sir, how do you prepare for Goldman Sachs?
Okay, nice. So, guys, for Goldman Sachs, right? Many of them, right? Basically, couple of things that is very important for Goldman Sachs is problem solving and puzzle solving power. Okay, so you have to have a very good aptitude knowledge. Aptitude is something that you have to be very much good at. Along with that, in gigs for gigs, you might see a lot of puzzles. Okay, a lot of question and puzzle. That is something you can actually practice. Okay, practice at least 30 or 40 puzzles on that. Now in gigs for gigs, these two things is extra. In addition with that, DSA. So mostly companies like HFT, they used to ask question on map reduce framework like hash map a lot. Okay, so you can prepare about hash map and few questions on arrays and few questions on dynamic programming DP and tree. Yeah, tree. These all are important. And if you're preparing for Uber or Ola, you can actually absolutely go for graph a lot because they want a good person, a person who can solve graph problems, graph and tree problems. And if you're preparing for Microsoft and Amazon and PayPal, all three interview experience and perspective are all look same. So they will have in each round they will be asking you two questions on data structure and algorithm, and these two questions will be mostly on tree, linked list, and array. Okay, and dynamic programming. Basically, they will have to ask this kind of question, and on that, on an 1 hour, you have to solve two questions with time and space complexity. And a very important thing, whenever you are solving a question, make sure you are explaining the time and space complexity to the interviewer in a good way, in a convenable way. Okay, convenient way. That is something very important. Yes. Next question. Is it answer? Does it answer your question, Om Prakash?
Yes, guys, please. Yeah, he said certainly.
Yes.
So
Great. Great.
shoot
Certainly.
other questions.
Yeah.
If anyone has any doubts, please go on, ask it.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead, guys. No doubt is bad, man. It is like friendship call. Think like if you are in a call with me, what are the things you should ask? Just ask me. Right.
Sir, how, sir, may I ask one question?
Hello.
Yeah, so buses.
Hello, bhai. You are looking for me. Karthik.
Yeah, he is Karthik, actually. Karthik.
Yes, yes. Please go ahead.
Bhaiya, Karthik bhai, you are supposed to give us the PDF he is going to give you.
Okay, bhai. Sure, sure, sure. That will be done.
Okay, sir, I was asking if what is the work environment in Goldman Sachs? Like how much work you have to do, how much time you have to give to the company.
Okay, so many of you might have read about the articles in Glassdoor or anywhere, right? The Goldman Sachs work-life balance is really little worse compared to different companies. So the reason why it is that they are basically paying late a way better than all the investment bankers that used to pay. Like if you see, if you compare the associate salary in JP Morgan and an associate salary in Goldman Sachs, it's kind of more than 50% difference that you will see in all respect. So that's the point. And another important point is Goldman actually is a very the culture of Goldman is very different. It's a water cycle model. They used to follow like a 90 days of sprint, 3 months of sprint, where you'll be assigned a very good task, a big task, which is a lot of learning, lot of analysis, lot of mathematical calculations that you have to do, and you have to finish it. If you find a blocker, you have to complete it. But usually in a normal like Microsoft, Amazon, and PayPal, the sprint used to happen for 15 days, where they will be assigned with a simple task like just a UI change or something. But in Goldman, it's kind of a hub of the project you have to build. So with that respect, it depends. It varies from team to team. So my work-life balance is really good. I'm in awesome project, so I do really enjoy it. So I used to work for 4 to 6 hours per day. Like in weekend, we don't have to see laptop. Yeah.
Well, that's great. Now, Arpita Padi Didi has shot a
Yeah.
question. She is telling how many questions did you practice overall in order for you to say that you are confident in DSA?
Okay. Great question. Guys, actually, you might have seen, right? Many of them, I mean, many of the people used to spend a lot on lead code, and they used to solve like 1500, 1600, 700, 800 problems. Trust me, guys, I haven't done anything such. If you see my lead code profile, you might see 150 or 120 problems that I have solved. And out of them, 100 easy problems are there. So for me, teaching is a habit and teaching is a passion. So with respect to teaching, I used to learn. Okay. So if you see my notes, wherever it is, so I have solved, I have practiced most of like all varieties of questions on graph. I have practiced all varieties of questions on tree, all varieties of questions on linked list array. So whatever the question comes to me, so I used to think in that respect and used to solve it. So it depends not on the number of questions that you are solving. It depends the varieties of questions that you are solving. If you are solving a two-pointer approach, then you have to solve different varieties of two-pointer. That is something you will get in our bootcamp. Okay, different varieties of questions on a particular topic, like sliding window, 5 or 6 questions on varieties of it, and few examples that will be given to you as an assignment that you have to solve on the same variety, so that you are practicing in a correct path. That is what my main point over here, right? You have to take a filtered path that leads to success. So in internet, if you go and search, in YouTube, if you go and search, you will get solution to each and every problem, but nobody will give you a proper path. What are the things you have to learn to get into that particular interview, to get crack that particular interview? So that is something that you will get. Okay, does it make sense, Arpita?
Yes, it
Yes,
does
great.
according.
Yes, Spandan, go ahead. I think you
Sir,
are very looking, I mean, you are always very sincere guy, it seems, huh?
no, sir, that
You
is
never
why
debate
I'm
a
not at
single
all.
time. I can see. Great, go ahead. Please go ahead.
Sir, you from 2018 till now, you have worked in so many companies like Delivery People, and now currently in Goldman Sachs. Sir,
Hmm.
how much of a journey